We're going to go over a couple of examples using the rules on the right to illustrate how a parent function, the most basic radical function, shifts to the right, left, up, down, reflex after you change that parent function by adding or multiplying or subtracting numbers. So let's look at this example here. Notice that the parent function is y equals square root of x. So we see the x here, we see the square root, but there's some other numbers and things going on now. Let's pick one of those at a time and look at the table to see how it changed the graph. So first off, subtracting a number after that function square root of x. So we are doing something after that function. That is moving it down that many units. Adding a number, however, within that function, so doing something to x before you take the square root, that is moving it to the left, that many units. Multiplying it by a negative number within that function, so doing something, multiplying x by a negative number before you take the square root, that reflects it across the y-axis. And then multiplying it by a number within that function, so multiplying x by 3 before you take the square root, that is a horizontal compression. So that is kind of smushing it down. Let's go over another example. This one is similar. I am just going to start again with the number dangling out here on the right, subtracting 3 after the function. That moved it down 3. Adding a number before you take the square root, that's going to move it to the left that many units. Multiplying it by a negative number after you take the square root, that reflects it across the x-axis. And multiplying it by a fraction after the square root, that does a vertical compression. So one other thing I do want to point out is that these rules work for square root, but they work for all of the other radical parent functions. So for example, this one right here. If you think of this, this is also a radical. We can change this to a 4 out here, x to the first. Okay, so these rules work for this as well. So again, looking to see how this graph might shift, subtracting a number moves it down 7, and adding that 5 moves it to the left 5.